We want to talk to you guys about building your own home gym because obviously, as you've seen in our videos, we pretty much do all our training out of our home gym and it's pretty basic. Like, to take you through what we got to start with.
Well,
We actually shipped our stuff over that we had. So funny enough, if you're shipping things overseas or moving overseas, you don't pay by weight, you pay by volume. So if you have weights and stuff, you can ship them overseas relatively easily because it's just what fits on the crate.
Yeah, it just takes a while. But if you don't mind waiting, then it's probably better to do that than to go and purchase a whole new home gym.
Correct. So we actually, when we got here, we had our 2 Alico bars, we had some bumper plates.
We had our crash pads.
Oh yeah, and we had our crash pads. So we were pretty set to get started, and then obviously we filled in the rest. So just a quick little summary of what else we got. We built our own platform. Well, Will actually, our friend Will built the platform, but we bought the stuff from Tractor Supply for the horse store mats and then Home Depot for the plywood. I bought jerk blocks from the, what do they call it? It's like a...
University, right?
Yeah, but it's like a auction. It's this auction thing from like, I think the university here sells their old stuff. So it was like the old baseball team's jerk blocks. So I bought those. It was like $500 for the pair, which is a damn good deal.
And those are expensive.
Yeah.
And they're super solid. So it's not like, I don't want to say companies' names, but I've seen jerk blocks because I've coached before. I've seen gyms have jerk blocks that literally... they won't even use a lot of weight. Like, for example, they'll use just over 100 pounds and the jerk blocks will break. So
that sucks.
So you must always make sure that when you do buy, obviously your budget is obviously one of the most important things.
We'll get into that soon.
Yeah, but you do want to, but what I do want to say is like, you do want to make sure that you get something of quality, because with gym equipment, it's one of those things that's going to last a lifetime. So if you end up spending a small amount of money because you want to save money and you don't think of the long run, you must also realize that with that, you might only have that piece of equipment for a very short time because it could potentially break.
Yeah, so jerk blocks are not a necessity. But if you are budgeting for your home gym, there's usually 2 or 3 pieces of equipment you don't want to skimp out on, typically. One is the bar. So you do not want to buy a cheap bar. You want to buy the bar that is suitable for what you're trying to do in training. So if you're mainly doing Olympic weightlifting, you want a weightlifting bar. If you're mainly doing powerlifting, you want a powerlifting bar. If you're doing a bit of everything, a multi-purpose bar is best because that's kind of like an in-between of both. You'll get dual knurling marks. You have powerlifting and weightlifting knurling marks. And I typically like them to be 28 millimeter shaft diameter if you're going to go for a multi-purpose, just because it's nicer than the 28.5. Because if you're going to do some weightlifting, the 28.5 sucks. So you might as well just have the 28 millimeter. So that would be for the barbell. And then you're typically looking at, for a quality barbell, anything over $200. You don't have to go high-end premium like a Alico, which is like closer to $1,000. But you can get really, really solid barbells now for anywhere from $200 to $300 or $400. Living Fit has really great multi-purpose barbells for $200 that we also have. Rep Fitness, Rogue Fitness, they all have them. And then the second one that you potentially don't want to skimp out on is your rack. So your power rack. So it just depends on what you're doing with your training. Ours is a cheaper Amazon one because we actually needed to be able to move it on and off our platform so we could fit the car in the garage. So it's a cheap one.
But it's actually really legit. It's really good.
It's a pretty decent squat stand for 200 and something bucks. Not ideal if you're going to do like proper rack work, but just to use as basically a squat stand with a pull-up attachment.
Well, if you want to know something, like back in the day when I was training with the national team, we had these squat racks that were like actually super flimsy. And they were literally just 2 thin pieces of metal and they had a connection at the bottom and they would go out. They weren't these hardcore Alico ones that you see now. Or I don't even know, probably Rogue has them too. But it wasn't that at all. And you literally just had to be so clever with like just how you racked it. But like as a national team athlete, like that's what we trained with. And there were guys on there that would clean and jerk over 200 kilos or jerk from rack over 200 kilos. They would squat like close to 300 kilos. So those racks actually held up. But again, those were people who knew how to use them. So again, if you're not someone that's going to abuse the equipment, You can get away with a rack that's a lot cheaper, and then you can actually say you've got a certain budget. You can say, okay, most of my money is going to go towards the thing I'm going to use the most and the thing that's going to be the most important, which would be if you're a weightlifter or a powerlifter or someone that values like barbell work. I would put most of my money into like the bar, and then secondly I would say the plates.
Yeah, the plates is the other one I was going to say.
And then thirdly, like something like a squat rack, because it doesn't have to be, like James is saying, $1,000 squat rack. Like you can get squat racks actually on Amazon that's going to be cheap. But one thing I do recommend is just read the reviews. Don't just go on and say, see a squat rack, it's the cheapest thing, and go and say buy. Because there are some of those squat racks you literally cannot handle more than like 50 kilos.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you got to make sure you're not getting standard racks for standard bars. So remember, there's a difference when you're getting a bar. A standard and an Olympic bar are two different bars, and you don't want to touch standard anything, because standard is a 1-inch shaft diameter, and the sleeves, well, they don't really have sleeves, but they're also 1 inch, so they only fit 1-inch whole plates. So basically the bars and plates that you see in like the pump classes and stuff at the gym, that would be like a standard size bar.
The old school, weren't like the old school bodybuilding plates like that? The old school, like the 80s. Because nowadays,
unless you get fixed, like the fixed bars if you have in your gym are also standard. Those old ones that you're talking about. So don't get standard anything. You want to make sure it's Olympic size. And that's the same with your plates. So we talked about plates. Now, when we say that you want to spend on the plates, only if you're getting bumper plates. So only if you're doing some form of CrossFit or weightlifting do you need to splurge on plates. If you're doing just pure strength training or powerlifting, get $1 a pound metal plates on Facebook Marketplace or something, because that's perfect for what you need to do. If you're doing the any kind of weightlifting, CrossFit style stuff, you need bumper plates, and you need quality bumper plates, because if you don't get quality ones, they will break very fast if you're dropping them. And depending on your garage, if you are dropping them or not on the platforms, if you're dropping them on crash pads, probably not so much of a bigger deal.
I also do want to say something, like back in the day when we had our home back in South Africa, even though I had a platform and I had Leica weights, those Leica weights went through the platform, and not so much making a hole in the platform or anything, but they cracked our foundation in our garage. So that's why it is important to also make sure that if you are renting or you do want to protect your foundation, make sure that you do have a good platform. But one of the things that we found has worked with not damaging foundations or anything like that is the crash pads. And again, that's something that is a bit more expensive.
A couple $100.
Couple of $100. It's a bit more expensive, but if you are a weightlifter and you are dropping heavy weight, but no Olympic weightlifter will not drop a weight. Like, it's something you have to do. But if you want to train out of your garage, I would recommend getting yourself some crash pads, because they have honestly like been such a lifesaver. And I've even used it for like low block work. And like, anything from below knees, or if I'm doing certain movements where I have to potentially clean the weight up, but I don't want to do it from the floor. And maybe I'm just doing like push presses or anything like that. Those jerk blocks or those crash pads, are really useful.
And then outside of that, you're going to need a bench, and you want to make sure you get an adjustable bench, because a flat bench, you're going to be very limited to what you can do. So you need one that's going to be adjustable. And I mean, you don't want to get the ones on Amazon and stuff that kind of just lift up. They're very flimsy. You want the ones that have the pins in them, so you can kind of adjust it that way. So honestly, any reputable brand has a good bench. Rep, Rogue, Titan, all those. It doesn't matter, you'll find a decent bench in those. Once you've got those 4 things, you're good to go. Then everything else is kind of cherry on top you can build. Now, dumbbells are another one that you probably want to build next on top. But for space saving in the garage and for money saving, adjustable dumbbells win by far. Instead of having 2 massive racks like in a gym of 5 pounds all the way up to like 100 pounds, which is what? I can't do the maths. It's a lot. It's a lot of dumbbells. And it's a lot of space. You can get adjustable dumbbells that go up to 100 pounds, and there's just 2 dumbbells that sit there with the I don't know what you call them. They're just basically attached on. You've got Rec Fitness has their own iron draw or something like that. There's another one. You've got, who else has adjustable ones recently? Bells of Steel is another one that does they resell those newer bells, which are really, really nice. Yeah, you got a few others that you'll find, but adjustable dumbbells by far will get you the most versatile use without the space and the money. It ends up being, so dumbbells you can usually get on secondhand on Facebook Marketplace. The going rate is $1 a pound. When you're buying them brand new, you're looking at $2, $3 or more a pound. When you're buying brand new adjustable ones, it's under $1 a pound. I think it's about 60 cents a pound, brand new. So you're getting a far better deal buying brand new adjustable dumbbells versus buying secondhand dumbbells on Facebook.
I also just want to say, like, if you are, for example, like I know we were talking a bit about like the Olympic weightlifting side of things, and now James are mentioning like things like the benches and the dumbbells, etc. But like, if you are a beginner person, like you've never, trained with a dumbbell or a barbell, anything like that, but you want to start your home gym and you want to start a program and you've got a very limited budget, I personally think one of the things that you should invest in is something like those adjustable dumbbells. And a bench can come potentially second.
You can get adjustable dumbbells that just go up to 50 pounds even if you're starting. So it's like 5 or 10 pounds up to 50 pounds in 2.5 pound increments.
But you can also do, like, if you have like limited space. So say for example, you have to train, you have an apartment, but you want to get some workout in. Those dumbbells are actually really useful.
Dumbbells and a TRX.
Yeah, because the thing is, like, you can literally, if you've got a program that say it says you must do dumbbells, you must do deadlifts, or you must do squats. What other barbell work is there? Like
bench
press, overhead press, anything like that. You can do that with dumbbells as well. So you can substitute those movements for the work with the dumbbells. So the thing is, like, some people think that, okay, I don't want to start in a gym because maybe I don't feel confident, or I don't want to be amongst people who has been lifting a very long time. But one thing you must also realize is no one actually focuses on that person. Like, everyone does their own thing. Like, if you are in the gym, you are there for like yourself and like your own goals. But I do know that it can be intimidating, and if you are like us, busy parents, going to the gym is almost impossible for us, because with driving there, being at the gym, like, who's gonna look after our little ones? Like, we don't have any family here. We don't have babysitters or anything like that will look after me or Odin. So for us, a home gym is an essential. But if we had to live in an apartment, we would have made sure that in our apartment we would have had dumbbells.
We wouldn't live in an apartment.
No, we wouldn't live. we would never do that again, because obviously it's small, it's limited, we have a dog, we need space, etc. But I'm just saying, for like an example, there are parents out there, they do live in apartments and in like small little spaces. So those are the kind of things that you can do in order to still work on your fitness. So you don't have an excuse to say, no, I don't have time to go to a gym, but you can do it actually at home. And you can, again, like James said, you can get those things on Facebook Marketplace. You must just keep looking. And if you can't get an adjustable ones on Facebook Marketplace, start off with a couple of dumbbells, just start doing the movements and get yourself familiar with the exercises. Then later on, you can budget for something a bit more expensive.
Yeah. And then you can just add on to that if there's any more. So I'm going to, if I'm holding this.
Yeah.
And then you can just add stuff like bands, sandbags, medicine balls. That kind of stuff can kind of round out eventually. And
kettlebells.
Yeah, kettlebells if you want kettlebells. But other than that, you're pretty much sorted. Then you can, if you wanted to go down the route of getting cardio equipment, the cheapest cardio equipment you can get is a spin bike. I got my spin bike on Facebook for $100. Works. You've probably seen it in some of the older vlogs. We have a hydro roller in the garage, which is actually really nice. It's basically the easiest way to explain it is Peloton, which most people won't be familiar with, but for rowing. It's actually pretty legit. So, but you don't need to go down that road. If you're just looking for some basic cardio stuff, a spin bike is relatively cheap and if you can just walk around the block or do whatever else you're doing, there's other stuff you can do to fit in there, but That would be like the main essentials, and you can get everything you need to get done just with those and get strong and jacked. I mean, think about
nowadays
the
people
old time physical culturists back in like before the pre-steroid era, 1940 and before. Those guys were brutally strong, and all they lifted with was barbells and dumbbells, and they got stupid strong.
Yeah, and if you do want to just stay active and you don't have a lot of space, or it's a really rainy day and you want to come up with excuses of why you can't go outside and go for walks and those kind of things, you can now get things even on TikTok, like your, what do you call them, like your walking pads and things like that. So you can literally, if you work from home, or even if you are in an office situation, you can walk and work. So that's one of the ways, again, that you can get your steps in, work a bit on your fitness, and not have to spend like super expensive, because I've actually seen those are pretty cheap.
Depending on what you get.
Yeah, depending on what you get. Again, work with your budget. Like, don't go and break the bank, or don't go into debt because now you want to go and get equipment. There is plenty of ways to actually do a home gym on a budget.
Yeah, for $1,000, you get a bar. You get the squat stand rack thing from Amazon, which those two together would be about $450, $500. Then you got about $500 left over just for plates, and that would be what? That's 500 pounds of plates if you're getting $1 a pound, which you might not find, but still you can get 300 plus pounds of plates, and you're pretty well sorted for $1,000. So you can set something up. Obviously, you don't have a platform or flooring and stuff, but that's like, you can be squatting, you can be over pressing, floor pressing, push-ups, Romanian deadlifts. You got barbell rows. You got heaps of options just with that to get started. But that's pretty much for the garage gym talk. Hopefully you enjoyed that. We'll catch you in another vlog. I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. We'll see.
We will train. We will do some sort of training.
Yeah, we'll do something.
Yeah.
And then we'll catch you guys in another video.